What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Prepper Dad. Thank you for being here today. So today is all things dehydrated food. Okay, this is where we want to be, our minds to be at, to think about dehydrated foods and what can I actually dehydrate. I want to take a step back and have you think about whether you are an individual, just you, by yourself. That's what I mean by an individual. Not are you a person, because you are watching me. You're an individual. But if you're by yourself, if you're a family of two, if you're a family of four, just whatever, wherever you're at. But we've all been there. We look at recipes and we see we have to measure certain things, but if we follow them to a T, what that ends up doing sometimes, depending on if you're an individual, 2 people, 4 people, is you have a lot of leftovers, right? So, or you just have to figure out, the how to break that down and to make it just for you, or, how many you're serving. But what if you can't do that? Or what if you have an idea on, I'm going to go hiking or I'm going to go backpacking? What do I do? What do I do with this food? I have a dehydrator. Let me try things out. And so what I want to show you today are just 2 examples of things that you can put in your dehydrator and save for when you need them, for whether that be an emergency, whether that be, I just really liked it and I want to have it again, or I'm going hiking, backpacking, or whatever the case may be. So the first one, I actually got this out of my freezer. I got it out of my freezer because I did it a while ago. And this was a really good dinner. So I know that I'm going to enjoy this myself or my wife when she goes hiking, or as a family. When we go hiking, we can always bring it for food. It's super lightweight. But what this is, and hopefully you guys can see in the camera or on the screen as it is, there's pasta. It's like a oh gosh, how do I explain it? It was like a cheeseburger macaroni, or was it I forgot, because I have a couple of these downstairs and I forgot what it was. But it's really good. It's well, it doesn't matter. That's one. But there is something I want to explain and kind of caution you guys about both of these foods. And then this is the next one. Now, this is a lot. This is a full course meal, or for one. This is basically like you go to a restaurant and you have leftovers, okay? Don't be afraid to take leftovers home from a restaurant. Why? Because you paid for it, and that's food that you can save for later. So what this is just spaghetti. You can see if I can hold that correctly in an angle that you might. So there's spaghetti, there's some pasta, and then it's actually meat sauce. Meat sauce. So the way that I had to do it was, if you've seen my other videos, I dehydrate eggs. So I will mix them up and I will pour them into my food dehydrator. But Matt, a food dehydrator, has holes in it, yes, but what I did was I bought like these silicone trays that are specifically for my Excalibur dehydrator, and I poured in there. Same thing with the meat sauce. So we cut it up to bite size, to where it's not all this huge string of pasta, and then I spread it out on the silicone tray because I wanted to keep the meat sauce. Got that down to a real dry consistency, but on the bottom of the silicone, I mean, air's not coming up through that. So what I had to do was I took this out and I basically flipped it onto the actual the plastic netting, the grid. Okay, so air can get on top and the bottom, so it can fully dry it, dehydrate it, ready for storing. So here are 2 things that you can easily dehydrate. Those are just 2 things, but think about all of the leftovers that you use and think about, I can probably dehydrate that. Now, the only thing I'm going to tell you to bring up is that when you're storing it, I do recommend a food saver. If you're able to vacuum seal it, absolutely. Now, I'm saying this from personal experience, not preference. Personal experience is that when you use pasta, when you have noodles, I haven't had any issues with this yet, but it is a possibility, is that when you do food saver on these pastas, on like elbow macaroni, you can kind of see different spots where it might poke through. I mean, we're dealing with plastic here, so it is not uncommon to see a hard piece of pasta rip through the bag. Now, if you're so worried, not so worried, if you are worried about that, you can, and I didn't come prepared for this part, but you can take a paper towel, put it on both sides of the bag, and so when you dump your pasta in, the pasta is hitting both sides of the bag, and so it's not gonna rip through the paper towel, nor is it gonna rip through the bag. And so when you vacuum seal it, take all the air out, you're fine. So just one way of storing food that you've paid for, that it is not taking up a lot of space and it is not heavy. Do what you want, and then when you reconstitute it, all you're doing is adding hot or boiling water to it and letting it set. I would start, depending on the size, I mean, because you can see these two, let me back this up. This is much smaller than this one. What I did was I took, I have 4 or 5 of these because I did it in individual portions. This is one portion. This is one portion that you could probably split in half, but I wanted it all together. So if I'm taking this hiking, I just have one bag to worry about. And this is the first time I've done this one, so it was kind of a test, but I'm still gonna eat it. But depending on what you're reconstituting, if you're doing this whole thing or this whole thing, you're gonna wanna use maybe 1/4 of a cup to start out with, you know, depending on, only you know how much water you think you're gonna need, okay? Completely up to you. This is not a video on how to. This is more of what I did. I'm just sharing the knowledge with you. That's what this prepper community is about. That's what this prepper channel is about. We want to share ideas, share thoughts, share things that we are doing over here, but also keeping our eyes and ears open to what's going on over there and why we continue to do what we do. All right, so this is the Prepper Dad saying thank you. Ask questions. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Until next video, be blessed.